Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered and Unapologetic, the space where we heal in truth, in faith, and with tenderness, without leaving our culture behind. I'm your host, Caitlin Gil-Soto, born and raised in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and always traveling between Bani y El Cibao, and proudly Dominicana. Today's episode is called The Calm Feels Suspicious, Healing That. And it's about that moment in growth that nobody talks about. When life is calm, truly calm, and your brain is sitting there like, okay, but why does this feel so weird? You're not sad. You're not overwhelmed. You're not dealing with drama. Nothing is wrong. But peace feels suspicious. Especially when you grew up in a culture where the house was always loud. Someone always in the kitchen, somebody always calling your name from another room, music outside, cousins coming in and out, movement everywhere. Peace wasn't the default. It was the reward after handling 10 things at once. So now, life is steady. The noise is gone, the chaos is gone, and instead of relaxing, your nervous system is like, is this peace or am I supposed to be doing something? That's not dysfunction. That's not ungratefulness. That's the body learning to trust a life that isn't built on survival mode anymore. For some of us, peace isn't boring. It's unfamiliar. Calm doesn't feel empty. It just feels new. And this episode is about learning to recognize peace, not as there's danger coming, but as proof that you're finally safe enough to breathe. When you've lived in survival mode, calmness doesn't register as calm. It registers as, what did I forget to do? As like if something is going to happen. Our nervous system keeps receipts. It remembers the sound of footsteps that meant tension, the tone in a parent's voice that meant prepare, the nights where you had to stay alert, not because you wanted to, but because being alert kept you safe. So even when life is finally steady, the body stays ready. It listens for chaos like it's background music. It scans for threats that aren't there anymore. It stays on guard, not because it wants drama, but because peace still feels like unfamiliar territory. For a lot of Dominicans, for a lot of first-gen kids, that alertness was cultural too. The house was always awake, someone yelling from the patio, a cousin slamming the door, mommy talking on the phone while seasoning chicken. Sound was comfort. Movement meant connection. And if there wasn't movement, somebody would say, it's too quiet. That makes me feel weird. We inherited a rhythm that says, if I'm not fixing something, I'm falling behind. So when peace enters, the body looks around and asks, who left the door open? But here's the truth. You don't owe your nervous system constant emergency to feel alive. Stillness doesn't erase purpose. It introduces a new frequency, one that feels awkward at first, because it's the sound of safety. You're not restless because something's wrong. You're restless because your body is detoxing from chaos. And peace, right now, is asking to be trusted, not tested. Let it. I have a journal prompt here for you guys. When your life finally slows down, what habits or thoughts try to pull you back into movement? And what are they protecting you from? And the affirmation for this question is, my body is learning that calm is not danger. Stillness is safety, not silence. We're conditioned to chase highs or recover from lows. Excitement equals success. Chaos equals something to fix. But what about the middle? The ordinary, steady days when nothing dramatic happens. Those in between seasons are sacred. They don't make headlines, but they shape you quietly. They're where your nervous system learns that peace doesn't mean pause, it means regulation. No adrenaline, no emotional cliffhangers, just consistency. For many of us, that neutrality feels uncomfortable because we were raised on emotional extremes. When life calmed down, it felt like something was missing, like we lost our spark. But maybe the spark was never meant to burn constantly. Maybe peace is the slow flame that keeps you warm instead of setting you on fire. This middle space is not nothing, it's integration. It's your body catching up to everything you prayed for. It's when discipline replaces chaos as your source of meaning. When you stop waiting for the next storm and start nurturing the garden you already have. Stillness doesn't erase purpose, it stabilizes it. And stability is not boring, it's mature abundance, the kind that doesn't have to prove itself. Let this be the season you learn to live without the roller coaster. Let peace be enough evidence that you're still growing. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. What parts of you still equate peace with nothing happening? How can you begin to see neutrality as nourishment instead of boredom? And the affirmation for this question is, I honor the seasons where nothing feels extreme. Peace is not emptiness. It's the space where my roots deepen. Healing isn't just about releasing pain. It's about expanding your capacity for peace. It's one thing to find calm. It's another thing to hold it. Your nervous system isn't just learning safety. It's learning sustainability. The ability to stay soft while life stays steady. Because peace has its own weight too. A quiet kind of responsibility that says, this is the new normal. You can stop waiting for the collapse. Our bodies, especially in cultures built on survival, aren't used to that. We were raised around people who lived in alert mode, even when things were fine. Abuelas who couldn't sit still, mothers who would finish cleaning and then start cleaning again, fathers who'd check every door twice before bed, not out of paranoia, out of habit. Safety wasn't guaranteed, so vigilance became tradition. And now, here we are, the generation learning what it means to be safe and stay safe. We're learning to breathe deeper, to make decisions from peace instead of panic, to believe that ease doesn't mean laziness, that calm doesn't mean complacency. This is what real nervous system healing looks like. Your body realizing it can feel good and still be productive. It can be still and still be alive. It can expand without bracing for impact. So when your body tenses, even in good moments, remind it, this calm isn't temporary. It's my new foundation. Because healing isn't just survival ending. It's safety staying. And I have a journal prompt here for you guys. What version of safe are you still adjusting to? The kind where you rest, receive, and trust instead of react? How does your body respond when you finally allow things to be easy? And the affirmation for this question is, I am building capacity for peace that lasts. I expand without fear. I rest without guilt. There's a season in your walk with God that doesn't feel miraculous. It feels quiet. No big breakthroughs, no signs or confirmations every day. Just you, your breath, and a peace that feels almost too calm to trust. And you start wondering, did I lose my fire? Why does peace feel like distance? But God didn't disappear. He just stopped shouting because you finally started listening. This kind of peace isn't punishment, it's maturity. It's what happens when your faith graduates from crisis management to quiet trust. When you no longer need constant proof to believe He's working. The calm feels suspicious only because chaos once felt familiar. But God isn't trying to bore you. He's trying to ground you. He's showing you what a steady relationship with Him looks like and feels like. Not a performance, not a high, not another test, just rhythm, rest, and real connection. This part of healing where He teaches you to create from communion, not confusion. Where your inspiration comes from stillness, not striving. Where your joy no longer depends on answered prayers, but on His presence itself. You're not losing your passion. You're learning peace as a form of praise. You're learning that intimacy with God doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it's a quiet morning with gratitude instead of adrenaline. So no, you're not drifting. You're deepening. You're learning to walk with God without needing thunder to prove He's near. And that's not distance. That's devotion. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. When God feels quiet, what fear rises in you? And how can you choose to see His silence as trust instead of absence? And the affirmation for this question is, my peace is proof of God's presence. Even in stillness, He is speaking, and I'm learning to listen. There comes a moment in healing when peace stops feeling like a visitor and starts feeling like it belongs to you. But even then, there's a part of you that waits for the other shoe to drop. A part that wonders, can it really stay this good? That fear isn't weakness. It's the body remembering every time the rug was pulled out from under you. Every time you got used to joy and life demanded you to toughen up again. So when something stable finally arrives, a calm relationship, a steady job, mornings that don't start in panic, your brain scans for what's wrong. Because consistency feels like a setup. But it's not. It's grace. And grace feels strange when you're used to earning everything. You don't have to brace for loss anymore. You don't have to shrink when blessings stay longer than you expected. Peace isn't something you hold on to. It's something you live from. God didn't bring you this far to tease you with ease. This is what safety sounds like. Quiet mornings, laughter that doesn't come from relief, love that doesn't make you dizzy, days that feel repetitive but full. You've done the work. You've survived the fire. Now the lesson is softness, the art of letting good things stay. Because healing isn't just about what you release. It's about what you finally stop pushing away. I have the last journal prompt here for you guys. What's one part of your life that feels calm right now? And what would it look like to trust it's allowed to stay that way? And the affirmation for this question is, I no longer chase peace, I live in it. I am safe in the consistency I prayed for. Now let's take a deep breath because that was kind of a lot. Notice that you didn't rush through this moment. That's growth. Not the loud kind, but the kind that your body recognizes before your mind catches up. Peace isn't something you learn once. It's about you practicing becoming. And maybe this is what maturity feels like. Not chasing extremes, but trusting what stays steady. You are learning to live in rhythm with life again, not in reaction to it. You don't need to earn your rest. You don't need to prove you're alive. You just need presence. So maybe after this episode, you may light a candle. Maybe you play some soft boleros or a little bachata in the background. Maybe you sit with your cafe or your tea and let yourself exist without a single thing to fix. That's not laziness. That's your nervous system literacy. That's peace speaking your language. And as you soften into that stillness, remember this. Every time you rest without guilt, you're healing someone who came before you. Every time you let love be easy, you're teaching your bloodline that joy doesn't have to hurt. You are your grandmother's answered prayer. The proof that peace can live in a Dominican home without struggle, without noise, without apology. May your peace be loud in its own way, through laughter, through warmth, through calm you don't have to explain. May it stay. And this is a bonus journal prompt for you guys. How can you make peace feel natural in your body? Not as something to find, but as something to remember. And the affirmation for this question is, peace is my inheritance. Stillness is my strength. Now, let's take a moment to take a deep breath. And exhale. Wherever you are right now, unclench your jaw, soften your shoulders, and let your breath remind you that peace is allowed to stay. Put your hand on your chest for this prayer. Dear God, thank you for teaching me that calm isn't the absence of life. It's the evidence of healing. Thank you for the quiet that used to feel foreign, but now feels like home. Thank you for showing me that I don't have to earn peace, perform for love, or fight to feel safe. I surrender the parts of me that still wait for chaos. I ask for the grace to rest in what I once prayed for. And I open my hands, ready to receive the kind of peace that doesn't leave when things get good. May my nervous system learn the rhythm of safety. May my heart soften before it closes. And may my home, my body, my spirit, my family be filled with calm that multiplies and stillness and faith. Amen. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of Unfiltered and Unapologetic. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who's learning to trust peace too. You can support the show by subscribing, leaving a review, or contributing via Buzzsprout via the link in my show notes. It helps keep these conversations flowing and this healing work alive. And if you're ready to deepen your journey, you can find my blank journals available now on Amazon to hold your reflections, prayers, and moments of softness. Remember, you are not behind. You are becoming. Keep choosing peace. Keep choosing tenderness. And I'll see you in the next episode of Unfiltered and Unapologetic.